Welcome to Rock is Reality. Get ready for unfiltered and unapologetic culture, entertainment, relationships, and a little bit of politics on Motor City Woman Radio. Follow Rock is Reality on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. In the meantime, let's go. Happy Black Music Month. We are wrapping it up. Welcome to Rocky's Reality. This is one of those shows, y'all. By the way, congrats. Like Snoop Dogg says, let me pat myself on the back because this is the 100th episode of Rocky's Reality. And I'm gonna be honest, I did not even plan it this way. I didn't plan the 100th this to be the 100th show, but God knew what needed to happen. And so I'm so grateful to welcome a guest who pretty much epitomizes Black music. Been doing it for 30 years plus. Singer, songwriter extraordinaire. Has worked with, my thing is, y'all know him mostly for SWV, but my thing is who hasn't he's worked with? Because the list is voluminous. And as my boy Marv Neal said, his pen game is strong. It's mean. So welcome to the show. I'm not even gonna, y'all know how I do. I'm not even gonna read this whole bio because we need to get to the nitty gritty. We only got an hour. We only got an hour. So we got to get to it. So welcome to Mr. Brian Alexander Morgan.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you,
Welcome, Brian.
thank you for the invite.
Listen, thank you for accepting. Okay, because I am still out here on my grind. I'm a superstar, but people don't know it yet. It's coming. Like seriously, you know how you believe, you know. I'm like, it's like I know when I grow up, I'm gonna be. So
I love it, Rocky. I love it.
I really appreciate your humility, and that's probably because you're from Kansas. You know, I mean,
Midwest, baby. You already know.
That Midwest intellect. It's just something about us. And I kind of when you call and see, this is how I knew you were a real one. So I hopped in. Y'all know I always got to tell the story. How I hopped in. Hey, baby, thank you. That's my daughter, Sydney. Talking about little pretty mommy.
Hey, Sydney.
Yes, my baby is about to be 20, but that's another story. I hopped in Brian's inbox on Instagram. Once I figured out because I had saw the SWV You're Always on My Mind video, and I was like, who is the guy at all these years I've been wanting to know who that guy is at the damn piano. And so I Googled it. And then it said Brian Alexander Margaret. I said, oh shit, he done did. I said, oh, I've got to get him on the show, Jesus. I said, make it happen. So, and this is what I do in my mind. I have a conversation with God, like, listen, God.
I'm not mad.
You know how I am. You know my intentions, right? And so I hopped in the inbox, and it took a couple weeks for him to reply, but he did. And I emailed him my whole little spiel because I want people to know, like, I'm legit. I'm not on no bullshit. This is like real. I'm not just some little fancy free Instagrammer out here. I'm a real music aficionado. My mama had a hi-fi stereo, baby. Okay, so I know it's my music.
And you contribute, you write to Billboard and stuff.
Yes. As a matter of fact, the top 50 greatest rap groups of all time, that the final 10 is out, y'all. So I was able to do 4 blurbs, the Locks, Cypress Hill, Boogie Down Productions, and Salt and Pepper. So I'm just honored to be a part of that. So that's why I call myself a multimedia storyteller. But when I emailed Brian, y'all, homeboy called me. So I'm looking, you know how you see a phone number, and I'm like, I don't know nobody in
Sacramento.
Yeah, I don't know nobody in Sacramento. Like, shit, I don't know nobody, no money out there. So I answered the phone, and Brian's like, what up? I'm like, hey, listen. So he was like, I just want to make sure that this was you. I was like, listen, come on, Brian, let's go. So thank you, Brian.
You are welcome.
For coming. A lot of people might just know you as SWV, but we're going to get into what else you've done as well, because you pretty much are someone, you are an unsung hero. And I want to give you your flowers. I believe in giving people their flowers while they can smell them. Hats off to you. Kudos to you. You could have been bougie as hell and said, nah, this ain't no big platform, but I appreciate you for gracing my platform with your knowledge. So let's get into it. Let's have a good time. So a lot of people may or may not know, I'm not going to go through the whole history, But Brian's been in the game since the 80s, pretty much. Connected with Club Nouveau. If y'all don't know who that is, Google it. Martha Wash. Of the Weather Girls from back in the day, y'all. He worked on some of her solo work, which led you to work with SWV, right? But tell me a little bit, Brian, how you got to where you are now. Give us a quick little snapshot.
Wow. Okay.
Like you leaving Kansas, because that's so funny. Like Dorothy, we not this ain't home, Toto.
You know what? It's funny. I think that if I hadn't been such a musical person in the first place, like so fascinated with records and 45s and album covers and people's record players, my mom and my mom's friends, when she used to take me anywhere, like to her friends' houses, they would hide their records and shut up the record player because I'm coming straight to the records, period. Like, and that's when I was like 5, 6. And I remember just being fascinated with the idea that all these sounds could come from a little plastic disc, right? And so what I used to do was associate feelings and emotions with those labels. So when I saw that Motown label, I knew that meant the Jackson 5 and how that made me feel. And when I saw that purple Gordy, it could be the Temptations and Just My Imagination, and I knew how that made me feel. And then when I saw that red and black Atlantic, Aretha, it's an older thing, and that made me feel another way. So I was just associating all these emotions with those label designs. And maybe now I probably romanticize it, but I really missed that part of what made me be so fascinated with music in the first place, because everything being on playlist and being, swiping and wiping and shit is like, it's like,
it takes the fascination. It takes
I miss some of the magic. And we used to like to read album covers and credits.
Listen, see, this is how I know you my opposite. He a Libra, y'all, by the way. Me and Brian was talking. I'm an Aries. I was just about to say, ain't nothing like sitting on your mama flow with the floor pillows and reading them liner notes.
Who did what? Where did you record it? Who mixed it?
And when I would make a mistake and put the record back in without the white cover, my mama would be so mad at me because she's like, "You got to scratch up my record."
No scratch up the vinyl. Yeah.
This for those under 30, you don't.
Yeah, but when you're in the Midwest like I was, and we're in that Hollywood world and New York studios and all that stuff seems like a million miles away. The closest thing that we had to getting into that world was those credits. So I felt like I was already in those rooms because I knew what Westlake was when I saw it on the Jacksons. I knew what Sigma Sounds in Philly was when I read it in the credits on all the Jones Girls or Teddy Pendergrass or all the the whole huge Philly international artists. So I just associated I could just see myself doing it because I was already so invested emotionally in it, right? So it wasn't a stretch for me to see myself doing it. So I think I probably started really early, rock, like trying to get out of Kansas. So I knew that I had a plan. I was like, I know I'm not going to college, so I know I want to graduate high school early to get out to be able to start this career. So I went to summer school in the 9th grade.
So your parents was good with you not going to college? They was like, you ain't gotta go.
My mom didn't have a choice. I was so obsessed because there was no even discussion. It's like no discussion. And then plus I think because she saw that I was so driven.
Right.
And I actually
it was your passion.
Right. And then I actually had talent.
Yeah.
It cut me off the streets, number one. She didn't have to corral me and wonder where I was. I was trying to do something somewhere at all times. So, and then if I wasn't doing that, I was playing in a band somewhere. I was at church practicing or in the choir rehearsal or something having to do with music at all times. So I was obsessed. So by the late 70s, I'm bringing you up to it. So by the late 70s, I had already recorded my very first thing, like when I was 11 in 77. And that was a revelation to me, just how people get in and lay it down and all that process was fascinating. We did it all live in that moment because we didn't have no money to do no overdubs, but I still was in a place where overdubs were possible. I learned all that stuff in Wichita. And then there was this guy, John Miller, who had a studio out in the outskirts of Kansas. super farmer, come on, man. Like I was in the
Corn
middle of
stalks,
look, I was in the middle of nowhere
cornfields.
recording this soulful stuff I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, hearing the sounds of in the late 70s, Clark Sisters came out with Is My Living in Vain?
Yeah, shout out to the Clark sisters.
You
I heard
feel
you
me?
mention commissioned.
Come on,
Yes,
Detroit.
Detroit. You
Stand up,
listen.
stand up.
Come
So
on, we more than Motown. We Motown,
yeah,
but we so
come
much
on
more.
now. And so influential on me, on people like me. So when I start hearing those sounds, and then the Winans and those records were just amazing. You're talking 1980, 81. We're talking Question Is in 81. The Question Is was an anthem where I come from. Question Is? Are you kidding me? That was like, what? I still get the chills now from those records. Bill Maxwell, shout out to Bill Maxwell for producing those genius productions. Kept my ear perked up, right? And I was like, how are they making these gospel records sound like Earth, Wind, and Fire and the main R&B stuff that's happening right now? So I made it my business. So the revelation to me that changed me for good, and ultimately that 78 through 80 period was so huge on me and my ears, because you got Twinkie with those Higher, Is My Living in Vain, and you got the Winans joints, like I just said. And then the thing is, when Michael dropped with Off the Wall, and I was put on some headphones.
Don't do it.
You hear me?
But don't do it. Don't do
harmonies and
don't go there.
You feel what I'm saying?
Just listen.
You hear me just laying it out? Like, what are these guitar parts doing back and forth and all across the stereo field? And I was like, and then by the time he came in with them, gotta leave the 9 to 5. You're like, whoa, what's happening? What's happening?
Oh my God.
You feel me?
Don't get me too excited. Stop
just
it.
How Quincy kept layering these layers of stuff. The percussion, the reverb on the percussion. Don't stop till you get enough is a veritable smorgasbord of rhythmic ear candy. It's insane.
It's the eargasm. Yeah. To this day.
All that stuff happening. I would get lost in my headphones just listening to what was happening sonically.
All the different sounds on top of each other. Are you one of those who like sometimes I'll signal a sound out when I'm listening to it? I like single it out, like, oh, I keep hearing that different sound.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I love that.
I was hearing every goddamn thing. I was like, listen, and then I was also very conscious because I was trying to record myself. So I was conscious of the groove. So like John Robinson on those drums, Let's Take Rock With You. Just the rock solidness of the bass and drums and how that drives everything, and then you layer everything around it. So I was learning that stuff at 13, 14. That's what my ears were listening to. So when you combine that with a whole plethora of Stevie stuff at the same time, like so Stevie 1980, we talking 81, Hotter Than July. We going into that whole incredible sonics of those things, and then into 82 with That Girl and Ribbon in the Sky.
Yes, that's one of my favorites. That girl. Yes.
The sonics on those drums.
That harmonica.
Everything. The harmonica's crazy. Let's get into the Gap Band 1980. Yearning for Your Love in 1980. Don't Stop the Music by Yarbrough and Peoples. These grooves. So like we're talking. Those are my influential. Listen, I was 15 years old.
You like me, an 80s. Listen,
all that stuff
about 80s R&B, 70s, like 80s R&B.
Man.
Oh my gosh, the SOS band, all of those.
When I think about it, 1980 would Take Your Time, Do It Right. And what that was, and then my side funk joints like Fatback Band and Looking for That Good Stuff. Come on, man, Backstroke. Come on.
Yes. Woo, child, hold on. We'll be here all day, Brian.
Listen,
we'll be here all night with it.
We will. Cutie Pie. I'm just talking about records that changed me sonically.
Yes.
Skating joints. Skating. Bounce Rock Roll Skate. Computer Game. Yellow Magic. The genius of that. Dun, 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 dun. If that wasn't a skating anthem, what are you talking about?
So wait, how did you come out of Kansas? Because see, we can be here reminiscing all night.
I think because
how did you get out of Kansas?
In that space in Kansas, listening to all those types of records had already transported my spirit, number one, and my mind into another place. So I was like, I need to be where I can do those things myself. So we started doing demos. I was in a couple gospel groups. And my goal in those gospel groups was to be another commission or be another Tremaine, she had Fall Down in 1986, 85, and that
Mhm.
was a
Is
crossover
that
club
the
thing.
Cache Devoir? Is
That's
that
how
where
we
you
get to
were looking?
Cachet, exactly.
Okay,
And
okay.
so that's how we get there, because it started as a let's do message joints like Clark's had done when You Brought the Sunshine. It crossed over
Mhm.
into the clubs, and Tremaine in '85 would Fall Down, which was so dope. Please Google Fall Down, like, people, so you can understand what that
Tremaine
means.
Hawkins?
Tremaine Hawkins, Fall
Yeah,
Down,
okay.
1985 on A&M Records. So
Love
I literally, from Kansas, reached out to the guy that had signed Tremaine and done the Fall Down record. His name was John McCain, and at the time was signing, in the process of putting out Janet's Control. Yeah, so
Ooh,
I'm catching all this. So,
another classic.
right. So the very
Woo!
first time we ever came to LA, it was we were trying to. We had been told by this manager we had that we were gonna get signed to Solar Records, which was Shalimar and all
Mhm.
those things, and the Whispers, and Leon is another one of my heroes who I'm blessed to know as a friend, Leon Silvers. And so we thought we'd come into LA in 1986 visiting, but we're gonna try to lock down this record deal, right? Well, it all fell apart. It didn't happen.
Right.
So we ended up back in Kansas in '87, and here comes Jay King through the town because they have a huge platinum album out called Life, Love, and Pain.
Mhm.
And one of my friends who was a huge Club Nouveau fan went to their show, kind of was a groupie, and went and literally followed them back to their room and stuff. And he was a huge fan of me and the
Yeah.
things I was doing with this gospel group called Devotion, and then eventually Cachet. So he let Jay King hear that demo that we had been doing, and that's how it all started for
And
me.
then Jay brought okay.
They called me,
Okay.
said, "Listen, you got to get out of Kansas. Let's go. I'm going to sign Benny Medina, who was in charge of A&R at the time, who also created Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and manages J-Lo to this day.
Wow.
He's the one that signed us in 1987 to
I
Warner
love
Bros.
it.
And we
Okay.
got out. And then it all fell apart within like a year and a half. But at least I had made it out.
Right, right, because you are an artist as well.
Oh, yeah.
You sang. See,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I like, that you can do both. You can produce and sing.
Mhm.
So, uh, let's get into SWV because I know that's what a lot of people want to hear about. But I did want to give them a little background. So
Mhm.
you did Martha Wash.
Oh, yes.
What was the single?
Give it to you.
Give it to you. Okay, and then someone through her introduced you to SWV.
The person who A&R Martha's album, his name was Kenny Ortiz, and he's the guy who found SWV and gave me tapes of them with what they had done up until that point, which was just these demos. But the Martha Wash stuff is amazing because, first of all, she was really like the top chick in that moment as far as record sales and what she was doing. Everybody Dance Now was huge at that moment. And then
Right.
the year before that was Everybody, Everybody. So she was doing her thing, right?
Right.
So I was like, I know that voice because I had already loved her on when she was with Sylvester with Disco Heat in 78 when I was 12. And I used to rock that joint. Again, listening to the productions. Well, I'm always been attracted to voices. So I was like, I think I could write something for her. And then when I heard Everybody, and then ultimately Everybody Dance Now, I was like, let me do one of them joints. So I did. And then she ended up asking me to do like 4 more. So I got 5 on that debut joint by her. And I did ballads and I did mid-tempos. I did stuff that people hadn't done on Martha before. But the cool thing is, not only did we get a #1 dance record out of it, what I got was to work with a legend to me. You know, that voice
She absolutely is.
on the heels of her biggest successes.
Exactly.
So I started in the game. I'm trying to say I started the game already with a sister with ridiculous voice.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we meet SWV. You did 6 of the 7 singles that were released.
Right.
Right. So talk about that process a little bit because listen, when I first heard I'm So Into You, I was like, look at these heifers with these boots. They better get and listen to this day. I mean, it's still a bop. Each of those songs are still a bop.
Thank you.
They're classic. How do you write from a woman's perspective, though, Brian? What you know about Downtown? And did you do Downtown too?
I didn't do Downtown.
Okay, but you know what? I love Anything.
I did do Anything. Baby, absolutely.
Now, did you know they were going to remix it for the Above the Rim soundtrack?
Well, we were in the remix era, so it was like kind of that was kind of what the thing to do back then was do a dope remix. Thanks to Diddy, that's the thing that everybody did at that point.
Right, but
But
that
look,
opening anything.
yeah, you mean the ballad, my slow one, yeah.
Yep, the intro. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
intro because that's the first track
Yeah,
off
yeah,
Off
opens it up.
Time.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you wanna
Yes,
do,
ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am.
am gonna
The
baby.
sexy
That's one
joint.
of my B-sides that should have been released as a single
Right, right,
to
right.
me.
I wanted to open the album with something absolutely sexy,
It was
and I
sensual,
wanted
all of that,
and if
erotic,
you
all of that.
notice, it goes right into I'm Swinging You, like, without stopping, no break.
Yep,
I got
yep,
that from my Stevie Wonder days when he would have one song go right into the next song.
yep.
And I like always dug edits like that. So that's the
Mm,
reason why I did that. It goes right from that last note and breath you hear on anything right into
right,
right into I'm Swinging
right.
You. I like that type of shit. But
I liked it too. It was a nice segue. And so what
yeah.
was that like working with them? And we're talking 30 years ago, but I love how, like I said, those still bang to those days. So what is that like for you to hear? Because how Jimmy Jam was at the CNN
Oh yeah, yeah,
Black
yeah.
Music
Yeah,
Black
the
Celebration
Juneteenth.
and
Oh
his
yeah.
daughter there.
Yeah,
What is that
man.
like to I
It's
mean it's so
incredible.
much.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, Jimmy, I mean, where do I start?
I mean, right.
Such an influence on me, keyboard wise, production wise, lyric, melody, Terry as well, rhythmically, bass. Just both of them guys are some of the dopest lyrical and melodic writing people I've ever been blessed to just live in the same lifetime as.
Hmm.
I don't think I'd write the way that I do without their, I call it guidance, because when I listen to their work, is not just work that we love, but it's for an kind of writer and a producer, it was pure like genius, first of all, and it's timeless. And so
Yep.
that's kind of the
Still.
bar. They set the bar for you talking about melody after
So is that what influenced
just
SWV
melodies.
that
Look at
yeah.
pick any one of their joints and they melodies is crazy. Sunday, Monday, I mean
Right.
just melodies. Let's wait a while. Pick a
Right,
melody.
okay, listen.
Come on,
So
man.
how did you learn how to arrange their voices? Because we know Coco, of course, is the lead, but how did you learn how to mesh Lily and Taj's in? Because
Well,
they
well,
all we need them
yeah.
all together. We
Well,
do,
that's
definitely
where
do.
my Clark sister stuff comes from. Like now you're talking like what the way I grew up. Like I grew up listening to the things that the harmonies of the Clark sisters is everything to me. How Twinkie blended their voices
Mhm.
was always my mindset. Like that's it. So if I think there's a direct line between my Clark sisters influence and what I do on SWV. And there's a secret to it. There's a pattern if you listen. It's always unison harmony, unison harmony. I'm so into, and then the harmony.
Mhm.
You feel me?
Okay,
And then
okay,
back to the unison. Don't know what I'm gonna do. Unison.
okay.
And like, girl, you got me so harmony. You feel me? That in and out with the unison
Yes,
harmony thing. That's kind of like my style. Rain down on me.
yes.
Let love
Which
is
was on the
fall.
third is the third album.
Come
Yeah,
on, man.
because that
Right.
second album that we so let's talk a little bit about how that second album they kind of dissed you.
Oh
They
man.
didn't put your stuff out. You did what,
Oh my
5 on
goodness.
that? And Imma tell you, I noticed the difference because that second album wasn't really hit. Really, my favorite is the first.
Yes.
The
Well, most
first is
people
a
do.
push play for me. The other 2, I have, like, 3 or 4 joints.
Mhm. Well,
I'm
things
talking
like
about those.
Prime Time that really clearly should have been a single.
Yes, it should have, because that's
And
one of my favorites off that second album.
yeah, yeah. And I hear this a lot from the fans. Like it was really disappointing for a producer. First of all, when you come out, you got to have first of all, on the heels of a 6 or 7 song smash, 3 million selling album, the next thing you do is clearly the most important thing you're gonna do in that moment, like how you follow it up, right?
Mhm.
So whoever's idea it was to not release my 5 joints that I have on there, yeah, that was
So what I mean,
not
did you have a
hard.
conflict with one of their managers? Was it the,
Well,
um,
I don't know
record
who made the
label?
actual decision. I mean, I've heard
Okay.
it blamed on management. I don't know, but at the end of the day, somebody should have stood up for me in
Right.
that
Yeah.
circle of people. And obviously, it was obviously decided that hey, we're not going to release any of the Brian Morgan singles.
Mhm.
That's just the way they,
That was
people
some
want to get their
hateration.
own.
Wait, and speaking of hateration, I don't wanna, like, say it's hateration, it was kinda shade, though. It's kinda I was like, "Ooh, is they trying to" because
Uh
you
oh,
have I guess, a cordial relationship with them now,
for
30
sure.
years later. You
Yeah.
do.
Hmm.
Okay. And so, of course, people are still asking them about that first album because they know. that you pretty much put them, y'all. It was.
Well, let's not skip over the fact that I showed up for that first reality show in 2006, 5 or 6. I showed up for that as well when, I showed up and then got kind of battered and bruised and on live TV, kind of assaulted and ambushed about interviews I've done and stuff. But I still showed up, and I wrote a whole song out of that for Lily and about her and her daughter that fans asked me about, wishing you were here. So I just wanted to make sure that that even amidst all the whatever, I still
had love for y'all asses.
Support them.
See, that's that Midwest.
Yeah, I show up and I support.
Yeah, that's that Midwest. So wait, I want to go into this clip that was kind of shady to me. They were on the We Sound Crazy podcast, and of course, they were talking about you.
Okay.
So let's share a little clip, and then I want to get your reaction.
Okay.
All of the stuff that you all have done with him is just chef's kiss. What is it about?
I just think the stars aligned when Kenny decided this guy has the great songs that'll fit this group, and everything just clicked. And whenever we recorded back then, everything just clicked with his music. It was always for us. I don't know. I mean, has he had the kind of success he had with us?
No, he was our person, and we were his people. You know what I mean?
It's like Jammin' Lewis and Janet.
Yeah,
it's Tony, y'all, and Brian. It's really a one of a kind match.
Yeah. Ooh.
So okay.
Ooh.
So let me see. I don't know.
I don't like how that sounded, Brian. When she
I don't
was like,
I don't know if it was shade. I mean, let's do this. Let's unpack it. Let's unpack what she's actually saying.
I love y'all, but damn, y'all ain't the only ones he done put on. My shit. That wasn't right, Brian.
So let's unpack what she actually said.
Okay.
So she said, has he had any success as great as that, right, with them? Now let's just unpack that real quick, because first of all, we're talking about two different things. Their success as artists alone, without me as a producer, on all their albums that they've done, you can look at that and say and measure that and say that's what that is. But you got to remember, I'm not an artist like that. I'm a writer and producer. So my success level and measure of what success is has to do with what producers and writers do. And you know what producers and writers do? They play songs on people's records and hope that they sell, right? So I feel like it wasn't a great comparison to say, has he had success, the word success, quotes, comparable to what I had with them. And here's how we break it down. Let's talk about what happened when you come out with the second album and you don't release any of the person that you had your biggest success with.
Right.
So that's the first step in maybe somebody might have played a part in me not having that success, because you don't have 6 successful singles and then not release the things. And it ain't like they weren't there. The songs were there. It ain't like I didn't deliver. Right? So the songs are there, but they chose not to do that. So that's the first thing that would be the first blow to my success, right? But then check this. I'm still down and come back in on the third album when I only got one song. But that one song is still the signature sound that people, especially people in Detroit, appreciate as their sound. So let's talk about success. So once again, even with my one song, I didn't have the success I had on that third album. Neither one of us did. It didn't sell 3 million albums.
Oh,
but however,
it's about time.
But however, I felt successful as a what? Writer, producer. I came in, I did my job. I created Rain. Rain is still resonating with these fans today.
To this day, with the children too. With the younger, my little cousin sang Weak in a talent show, okay? And Rain is still a talent show favorite.
So I would say that success should be measured by what your job is. And my job as a writer and producer was just to keep writing and producing. So let's talk about what I wrote and produced and whether or not it was successful. When we talk about Rain, it came back in the form of Chingy pulling me back and Tyrese as a big old pop hit. That's what you want as a writer and producer, is for your work to not only come back, but come back and be successful all over again. It did that. It came back right here, came back in the form of Chris Brown's She Ain't You. Another top 20, top 15
run it down.
Pop hit in 2011.
Run it down.
So
Right.
and I'm just saying, JoJo, when I covered Weak myself and produced it on her, came back, she had a triple platinum album out the gate. So again, as a writer and a producer, all along the way, after I got shit on the second album, I'm still doing records that to me are successful. Now, I want to say this. Sometimes it's not how big the record was, but how I think important the record was to me as a producer and writer. Give you an example. Layla Hathaway's Let Me Love You. Didn't do big, huge numbers. But I guarantee you, Layla is a legend to me in the family tree of a legend that I respect at the exact same level as Stevie Marvin and all the incredible soul heroes, Donny Hathaway. So the fact that I'm even in a room recording Layla Hathaway at all is a huge measure of success for me as a what?
And also let's add Drake, Usher, Tamar Braxton.
I'm getting to that. I want to start with just the things that what we perceive success as. We're still talking writer producer. That's all I do really, and I happen to sing. But my point is, it wasn't fair to compare what happened after I did those records with them on that first successful run. They couldn't reproduce that without me, as far as success, if you want to talk about success goes. But the point is, I still kept doing what I do, and that is writing and producing. So Usher wasn't a big record, but again, if you keep listening and looking down my list of my names, Faith Evans, I'm always working with the top people.
Missy Elliott
with Nicole Ray. That wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be, but there I was working with Missy Elliott and had a second single off of Nicole Ray's album following Timbaland, one of the biggest producers in the game. So again, what I'm trying to say to you is success, and this is to the producers and writers out there. It's not about me comparing my success to them. That's why I think that was a misplaced thing to say. It's about, are you on your path doing what you were called to do? I was called to write and produce, and that's what I've been doing. And now the cool thing about it is that I have things that I have written, produced that are successful on things like Drake, 3 million albums on the Views album, or the On the Way thing on Khalid, a couple double platinum on that, and that's great. And they're all top tier. They're top tier, right? So I think as a producer and as a writer, that's all you can hope for.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty successful.
That's all you can hope for.
Because those people might not have wanted to work with you if they had not have known that you were the Brian Alexander Morgan who worked with SWV. I'm sure when they heard that, they was like, I need him to come work that same magic over here.
Yeah,
that same magic.
Sure. And I love it because hey, if you follow my trajectory, you see that it's always my songs that makes me successful. Like whether it's covered on somebody like Chris Brown's with Young Blue, sexy motherfucker.
Oh, that is my shit.
Yes, of course.
You did that.
That's a sample. They're sampling all
doomed. Okay, yes.
But I'm just saying. So whether it's them covering me, I'm just saying I'm firmly rooted in today's right now music with the same songs that I did then, but I'm also doing new songs within it. Check out the Faith Evans, check out the Tamar Braxton, check out the Layla Hathaway if you haven't, check out the Usher. It's just, those are the names you want to say if you're calling yourself a successful writer and producer, is all I'm saying.
Right, exactly. It's still added to your resume. Right quick, I want to continue on that vein. I want to go back to kind of tell the story a little bit. Hey, Marcus Divine. Shout out to Marcus Divine. He says, my hero, one of the greatest of all time. Shout out to everyone watching around.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Marcus.
He's a hot producer as well. If y'all need to connect, Marcus and Brian, y'all need to connect because Marcus has worked with 112, Ashanti.
Nice.
Drew Hill, a plethora of artists. Beth, she's here from Detroit. Her
Awesome.
father was one of the Funk Brothers.
I'll check it
Motown
out. Yeah, wait a minute. Who's one of the what?
Baby, I gotta text you, Beth. She's an artist from Detroit. She used to do background vocals for Anita Baker, but now she's a solo artist.
Okay, I gotta
Marcus
check that
is
out.
her producer and musical director.
I'm with it.
Her voice is fantastic. I'll have to text you some of her stuff.
I
But you
appreciate
all
it.
definitely need to connect because Marcus has
But Rocky, did I make that clear for you? What I was
He
trying
said,
to say?
I know Big Bro. Okay. He said, y'all know each other. Okay.
Did I connect those dots as far as
Yeah,
success and
absolutely.
what that means?
Exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely. Oh, he said he's been to your studio in Sacramento as well. Because so
Okay.
y'all have met. Great. Okay. So yes, I'm glad because you have, and that makes the point of you define success, not others. You define your success.
Well,
for you.
ultimately, you should. You should definitely. You know what I mean? But I think there's success as an artist, and then there's success as a writer producer, and that's definitely two different things. Is what I'm
Exactly. Because let's be honest, if they want to say that, no other album has been as successful as It's About Time.
You can say that, yeah.
So,
but to me, but that doesn't. And it works both ways. To me, that doesn't define their success.
Exactly.
To me,
right? Because they
their
still
success
are
as
legendary
artists
as
the
well.
fact that they're still here,
right? And they're
still
still one of the top
viable.
female groups of all time.
Exactly.
So
still
much
working,
respect to them.
looking amazing, dude. Out there getting that money.
Yes, they are.
So that's a level of success. You feel me? So it's about your definition of what success is.
Absolutely. So let's talk about a little fun fact that Rain was supposed to be for Brandy. Right quick.
Yes.
I don't know if a lot of people know that, but Rain originally was supposed to be for Brandy, but somebody snatched it away. And so just right quick.
I'll summarize that. Okay. So in the moment, obviously I was still hurt from not having my singles released on the second album and having so much heat on there and still not having it released. So by the time we got to the third album, by the time they got to the third album, I didn't really feel like I was a part of it anymore, frankly. And I just did not feel loved or wanted. And so I started to work, write for other people. So I wrote Rain for Brandy and was pursuing that, and it was going quite well. It was literally about to be on the record. We was about to go in. I was in the studio with Brandy and Kelly Price at Daddy's house, about to cut the thing in a day or two, something like that. And we let Diddy hear it, everything, the demo. And I get a call from RCA saying that I think Rodney Jerkins chose not to include it on her Boy Is Mine album because he was in charge of, what got accepted or not. And he felt like it was too SWV. I know he loved the song for sure. Shout out to Rodney Jerkins. I know he loved the song. I know that for sure. And it was his call. And so Sylvia Roan had already paid me for the song because I had a production song deal at the time that included the stuff I did on Nicole Ray and the stuff I was writing for Brandy. So I had already gotten paid for the song. But RCA called and said, hey, that we're wrapping up the Release Some Tension album. We need a Brian Morgan song.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, I said, all right. And then that's how they ended up on that album.
And that makes sense because it fits them. It fits
them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It fits them.
One of my favorite songs that I ever did on them.
Listen. So I just wanted to show a quick clip from, speaking of Jimmy Jam, about him giving you your props. Now that's the bomb when you have
my hero, man.
some of those who you look up to.
Absolutely.
So I just want to watch a quick clip of him giving you some props.
Okay.
Every once in a while, there would be a record or something that I would really like, and I would kind of call everybody into my room and say, okay, listen to this, because I want this record to resonate with you and then inform the way that you make records going forward. And that's a pretty short list of records, of singles and albums over the years. But I do remember the first time hearing SWV for the very first time. I went straight to each room and I grabbed Terry from his room. Can't remember whether it was Mint Condition or somebody was in another room, probably had another artist in another room. I can't remember. I just remember I gathered everybody in my studio and I just said, listen to this record. And we played the whole record from start to finish. And everybody knew when they went back to their room to create whatever they were going to create, they were going to be impacted by what they had just heard.
I think Brian Alexander Morgan, he represents soulfulness, he represents realness, rawness, and forward thinking, man. Like the songs he was writing in the 80s, I'm still connecting with him right now. You know what I'm saying? The songs he was doing way back. Like it's like, how was you even thinking of this? You know what I'm saying? It's stuff that now I'm still trying to crack those codes. So just, classic, man. He's just a real classic musician, artist, writer, producer, all across the board, man. I got nothing but respect for Ben.
The Sisters with
Yeah, listen. So if they have to, is that on YouTube if people want to see the full?
That is not. I don't have it. I don't think they have that out on YouTube yet. It's probably
that's
coming.
exclusive. That's exclusive.
It
then,
is
on Rocky's
exclusive.
Reality.
Yeah.
Exclusive, y'all. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it here first. Listen, and shout out to Hit Boy. He's a
Man. That's my guy right there, man.
So what is that like, Brian? When you have Jimmy Jam making people listen to your stuff and pretty much telling them this is your lesson. Here's the lesson. Come on in here, listen to this.
It's mind blowing, and it also can bring me to tears real quick because oh my God, my truth of the matter is I know I wouldn't be the player producer that I am without them. They just literally just blaze such a trail. And that goes back to Leon blazing the trail that opened the door for them. So when I'm with Leon, I just talked to Leon 2 days ago. When I talk to him, I find myself getting overwhelmed and full because
I feel you. Listen, take a breath. Listen.
It's a
I feel the same way. I feel you.
It's a long way from Wichita to these guys in their world. So the fact that I made it into their worlds and was able to influence them, it's just, it's overwhelming.
I bet. Because it's like you dream it, and then when it's happening, it's like, I cannot believe it. And so that's just a testament to your talent and your gift, Brian, because
if I had to say anything at all, it would be to young writers and aspiring producers. If you are true to it in the sense that you're not just doing it to impress others, you're not just doing it for money, you are doing it because you feel led and there's a spirit leading you where you've had teachers to guide you, but you're still doing you. Authentically doing you. And I think that's the reason why that it works, because I respected what came before me. I included it, the Charlie Wilsons, the Stevie Wonders, the Donny Hathaways, the Clark sisters, the Commissions, all those things, whenever I'm doing anything, were always part of what I was doing, my stew that I'm creating. And then Jimmy and Terry and producers and even Teddy, everybody that brought something to the beat part of it, how they arrange beats. DJ Premier, Eric Sermon. I was a huge fan of these hip hop icons.
Listen,
how they put their beats together.
Happy 50th hip hop. Happy 50th
hip hop, and on some real shit. Like those guys influenced me as much as the R&B guys. So when you hear my joints, it's a combination of those things. Period.
I love that. So let's get into what's coming next. Because you still cutting up. So a little birdie told me.
Hey man, I'm so blessed. Again, I met through DJ Battlecat, who's a beast himself. He had a couple records with this girl Nefertiti, and I heard that shit.
No. Wait, okay, we're gonna get to her, but I wanted to get into It's About Timeless.
Oh,
let's finish up SWV, then we're gonna move
Okay.
So quick, let's talk about the 30th anniversary of It's About Time. You're gonna do a compilation. It's About Timeless.
Yes, I put
coming
together
out in the fall.
Some dope current artists covering the hits.
Jacquees, Queen Naija.
Naija doing always on my because that was so well received. And just I don't want to give too much away, but putting it together. Stay tuned. I'm definitely gonna get that wrapped up. That business is happening now. There's a unreleased SWV song on there.
So y'all work together again? They
This is going to be us working together again. There's a new SWV song that we got to cut still that's supposed to go on there. There's an unreleased joint that people love called What Two Can Do. And then the 5 joints from the It's About Time album that, the hits done by today's artists. I'm so excited about it because it's so dope. And
Who
so
gonna do week? Who gonna do week? It better be somebody good, Brian.
It is.
Get them on there acting. Who gonna?
it's a dope artist out of Australia. She's fire.
Is it Snow Allegra?
Oh,
Wait, is
no.
Not Australia. No. Okay, no.
But let's not say that. I'll tell y'all when it's time. I'll come back on here and talk to you about it.
Okay, you heard him say it, y'all. He coming back.
I'll come back and talk because I want to come back and share what roll that out for you.
Yes, please. Keep
I'm trying to get all the stuff, the loose ends tied right now on all that.
Back, please. Oh my gosh. Okay. So now let's move on to Nefertiti Avani.
Yeah, man.
Snoop Dogg's artist. So right clip, quick. Let's play. I want to play the Snoop Dogg right quick because that's just about 10 seconds. Let's just play what Snoop Dogg said right quick, and we're gonna hear a legend's name at the end of this. Just right quick.
Missing piece of this Death Row OMG shit. That's what it is. You are the missing piece of this Death Row OMG shit. Come on, Larry. Let's figure this shit out.
Listen, and so he was referring to the legendary Larry Jackson.
Yeah,
if y'all don't know, y'all better Google.
Yeah,
all I'm gonna say is Apple and Dr. Dre.
Look,
such and such.
Yeah.
So you're connected with him.
The beauty of it all
introduced you to him.
Snoop introduced me to Larry, but I want to get back to Snoop's. What he was saying there was that he thinks I'm the key to what he's missing at the label, which to me, like, again, that's crazy from such a legend. Like, to think that I could be a missing piece of anything that he's doing, who's worked with nothing but the best, Dr. Dre and Pharrell and every dope producer ever, Battle Cat and them.
We need to bring that back, that genuine, that 80s, that 90s, that genuine real R&B. We do.
And hip hop, and he knows what it is.
The musicianship, the artistry of it all. That's what you represent. That's what I think he's talking about. Absolutely.
I'm so honored that he even said something like that. Like, that's crazy, and I appreciate him so much. And you know what's cool about Snoop, and the reason why I'm really, really thankful for his friendship is that I can do something and just send it right to him, and he'll give me his immediate feedback. Boom. If he's fucking with it, he's telling me right then and there, like, it's no bullshit. And that's why I embraced his artist, because Snoop is one of the only ones I see in the hip hop world that's really reaching out and to R&B, like, in a real way.
Mm-hmm.
October London. Have you heard October London? This guy's
Jesus.
Marvin, Marvin energy. I'm just saying, like, Jane Hancock. Are you kidding me? To me, she's the Twinkie Clark of hip hop R&B. Like, to me, Jane is easily the new Faith Evans as far as that energy goes. And I've had Jane over here. That's my homie. Like, we're working on something right now too. Hopefully with La Russell on it. So I got my hands in so many things, but my biggest, proudest moment for so far with Snoop is going to be definitely Nefertiti.
Yeah, okay. So let's get into that.
Her vocals. Come on, man.
Yes, Ron. October is. I saw her the other day. I was like, oh. I'm sorry, him. My bad.
October London. Yeah.
I came across him the other day, and I was like, oh, wait a minute now.
Oh yeah.
This is sounding kind of.
Be the truth.
Yeah, this is kind of So,
but again, Snoop is making it his business to
bring that back.
Bring that back, yeah.
Yep, I love it. I love it. So let's get into somebody else he's bringing, Nefertiti. So this is a track. This could be the one. Okay,
I do this one with Nev. Yeah.
This is you in the lab. So
yeah, man. Got it.
Yep, it's coming. It's coming. We got it, y'all. We got it, y'all. It's coming. It's coming.
This
I love it. Nefertiti Avani. She is, definitely.
What up? Hey, welcome to another episode of In the Lab with Brian Alexander Morgan. Hey, sometimes I like to experiment. This is one of those joints. I wanted to see what a 3-chord joint would be. Just a 3-chord joint. Just that. Called my girl Nefertiti, had her write a hook to it. I sang a hook on top of her hook, put it together. This is what we got. Let's go.
This could be one. This could be one. Bigger than you ever imagined. Yeah, I see you packed for the weekend, but you should have packed for the season. Bring a scuba suit, baby, this the deep end. Yeah. Who told you love don't exist like this? Who told you it don't hit, don't bite like this? Baby, you be crazy to fight this. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that was just a little clip. Ooh.
Yeah.
And then what I like is that she can also rap.
Absolutely.
See, I love these artists who can now also sing and raps. So so let's go into the part where she drops her verse as well. Nice. I was like, oh, she dropping bars, is she? Lauren Hill vibes here. Lauren Hill.
Now. I'm not mad. Yeah, Neff does it all, man.
I love it. So let's go into that.
And she fine.
Yeah, she is though. Hearing her and her little boo.
Yeah.
She is a cutie pie.
Oh yeah.
This could be the one, be a phenomenon and go beyond. This could be the reason why you put up with your best song. Could be the reason that you text it back. Be the reason why somebody making time for that. Why you smiling in the middle of your day, getting flashbacks, fucking with a meal cause you tired of all these snack packs. This could be the one, but it's up to you. Cause if it ain't me, it's gonna be a 2 weeks. Yeah.
Hey.
This could be.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I love it. I love when she said fucking with all these fucking with a meal when you fucking with all these snack packs when you eat a meal. Listen.
Come on, bars.
Come on now. And that's what I love, that we have more females of substance coming out now. Like shout out to Lotto, Meg Thee Stallion, Flo Milli, these artists.
Lotto may or may not be on that It's About Timeless.
Listen, Brian, I'm gonna be, you can call me, save my number, okay?
Of course.
And I want to get you into an article too on one of my platforms. We gonna see if we can get a little something with Billboard or This Is R&B or one of these.
Let's go. For sure.
Listen. So I wanted to ask you, Brian, because you obviously, because we know how some producers, they sing just enough to do the demo. Okay. And their talent is more, they just do enough to do the demo, right? Mm-hmm. But you actually have a nice ass voice. Cause like I said, that you're always on my mind. I loved hearing your vocals on that. I thought that was just a perfect touch for the song. I was like, oh, I always loved that. So what do you like between being an artist versus a producer? How do you separate? How do you transition your mind and say, okay, let me put my artist cap on. Let me put my producer writer cap on.
That is a great question. And I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes it's very difficult to separate the two, right? So it's funny you ask. I'm working on a new project on me, right now. But what I wanted to do was separate my producer self from my artist self. So you know what I did? So this is in the process right now. And we didn't talk about it. I'm sharing this with you. I went into my studio, and there's some dudes I create what we call samples with. I can just be singing and playing, and just record myself singing and playing, and then freestyle. But out of those freestyles, though, Rock, came these cool, really from the heart melodies and vibes, right? And so I had 4 or 5 of them where I was just playing these keys and singing right off the top of my head, whatever just came into my mind, right? And so after I put 4 or 5 of them, lined them up together, I was like, this is some raw me. This is raw off the top of my head shit, keys wise and singing, right? So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? If I want to really hear myself produced by other producers, this is the perfect moment for me to do it. So what I did was I started sending the snippets to my producer friends, like Mike and Keys, who did all the Nipsey Hussle joints, and Hit Boy himself. And my man Deputy that did the Rihanna's Bitch Better Have My Money. So listen, when I tell you that they've turned in some fire, or as we say them in MS, fire on these beats, on my raw vocals and keys. So I'm gonna put that out as an EP on me, just because the fans haven't really heard me.
Right? Will it be your first EP? It'll be
my first EP, yeah.
Ever.
ever. And it's just raw. It's just raw. I call it raw bam. Yeah.
Which is Brian Alexander Morgan, which, by the way, that's your alter ego.
Yep.
Who does house music, and you
raw.
can. I love.
This might be my logo.
Listen,
it makes sense.
No.
You feel me? Raw.
If you know, you know.
Bam. Got it?
Right. So,
when I tell you Mike and Keys them showed out with these beats, oh my God. It makes me so happy because they'll tell you, just like Marcus was saying.
When is that coming?
That's coming very soon.
Okay.
It might come before.
Or It's About Time.
It might come before that. We'll see which one comes first. But there's Nefertiti stuff happening, so we're gonna figure out which one of those comes first. But Mike and Keys told me the same thing that I hear from Marcus and other producers, today's producers, and that is, and Hit Boy, that I influenced them. So they're giving back to me on this. And I really, really love them for that. And I'm telling you, the love of hip hop that we all have comes through. Because and I sent the joints to Snoop too. He loved one of them. One of them's called this one of them so pimpy and so G'd out. It's so G'd out. Y'all ain't used to for me talking about pimp shit. This one of them is just straight. Oh, I'm so excited for y'all to hear it.
Wait. So right quick, I had to get in the question for inquiring minds, Brian. If you got a boo, Like,
not right now. No, my boo is music, and my dogs take up the rest of my time. So So no.
And that just reminded me of another little fun fact. That Week was written with Shantae Moore in mind.
Absolutely,
so you were kind of crushing on her.
Yes, but that was my boss's lady, so that was one of them off limits, not ever gonna happen situations.
We want no Frank White situation,
right? And that's why Week is about. I always say this: Week is about not being able to act on that, and Shirley Murdoch's As We Lay is about acting on that. Right? It's morning.
Okay, Ron says, "Put It on Paper" by Ron Nesby and Al Green is my song. Sending you props. So is that one of yours too?
No, but I did work with Ann Nesby though. On another record, so he might be confused with the fact that I've actually worked with Ann.
Okay,
I've worked with Ann for sure. Another amazing voice, and her daughter Jamesia. I mean, man, come on, man.
Oh, I bet she blows.
What?
I love her on this last
3 generations. Jamesia's daughter Paris is a beast. Oh, come on, man.
I gotta look them up because I loved Ann Nesby on the last season of Queen Sugar, and I wish she would have sang.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, we gotta wrap it up. Ooh, Brian. And again, I want to thank you for coming. And please excuse me at times interrupting you.
No, it's all
I was so excited, but let's wrap it up with who are your top 5 hip hop artists, because you're a hip hop head too.
Yes,
and by the way, another shameless plug, y'all make sure y'all check out Billboard's top 50 greatest rap groups of all time. I've got 4 blurbs on there.
Yes.
But right quick, who are your top 5?
My 5 top hip hop? Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, Dr. Dre. And for my 5th one, I gotta go with one of the old school cats that really KRS-One, man. So that's my top 5 right there, real quick. Absolutely.
Boo, you might have to log out and log back in. My boo is saying no sound. I hope everybody else can hear us. So I thank everyone for watching. Thanks for joining me, Brian.
Yeah, man.
Right quick, who are a couple of your good groups though? Because y'all gonna be really pleasantly surprised at who we're saying the number 1 group is.
You mean what kind of groups? Hip hop, R&B?
No, I'm saying top hip hop groups is what I'm saying. You gave me like artists, but
groups.
who are some groups that are your favorite?
Fugees.
Ooh.
Because we wouldn't have Lauryn Hill without it.
Okay.
I definitely like Diggable Planets for being different. And De La Soul, and Tribe Called Quest. Oh my God.
By the way, those 2, Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul, are in the top 10.
Come on, man. Yeah, I got to go there. Those are my.
Okay.
Those are my. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. And my last question, we're gonna close it out. Anyone you would like to work with? Who's on your bucket list to work with?
Oh, I got a joint coming with Big Sean with me and Hit Boy, so I'm excited about that. And
that's shout out to D-Town, Detroit. What up, though?
D-Town joint.
Listen.
Yeah. And I was very happy to work with Nas on the King's Disease 2 album. So let's see.
But is there anyone you haven't worked with?
Oh, Jay-Z, of course. Jay-Z.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Jay-Z, man.
Okay.
Bucket list. Jay-Z for sure. And Beyonce for that matter, but Jay-Z for sure.
Listen, maybe she'll stop by the studio.
Come
Like,
on now.
you
I
know.
got joints. I've already kind of like me and Dream connected, and there's some things. Me and Dream have exchanged.
Y'all got them in the archives. Y'all got 'em in the
Yeah, listen,
okay.
it just happened earlier this year. Me and Dream got together with Jay-Z's producer that you guys know from Common, but look, a whole lot of stuff could happen. I don't want to claim too much.
Okay. We gonna put that's all right. We're gonna put good vibes out there. So I want to thank you again, Brian. Where can people follow you to figure out what you're doing? Because you're not on Facebook, you just on Instagram
and Twitter.
And Twitter. So how can they what's the handles?
My Instagram joint is B_A_Morgan. And my Twitter is real Brian Alexander Morgan.
Right. And he's definitely real, y'all. If y'all see some of his posts on Instagram, we couldn't get into it tonight, but follow him and see. He be coming with the shits. Brian is with the shits on Instagram. Okay. I was like, he went there.
Yeah.
But,
I
really appreciate you again, Brian. Please let's keep in touch. Let's not let this be goodbye, but it's see you later.
For sure.
You're always welcome back to my platform.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate you and hope you can make a Detroit sometime soon.
I'm trying to do it. Listen,
you need to come through. Come through. We are doing so many big things. But you're always
my man Butch from Detroit. He got a bar. I think he got a bar there. So shout out to Butch.
Okay, shout out to Butch. Okay, so we'll definitely be in touch, and I cannot wait to hear that it's about Timeless. And just y'all make sure y'all follow Brian. And thank you again. Thank you to everyone for watching Rocky's Reality for Black Music Month. Take care and see you next time. Take care, Brian.